When I was 10, my sister and I went to the mountains to herd sheep. I vaguely saw someone. It seemed like a person was waving at me through the haze. Unexpectedly, in the blink of an eye, my sister disappeared. The villagers all said it was the mountain bear who took her away. But my dad looked pale and hurriedly opened the cellar to let me hide. It wasn't the bear. It was him. He's back again. Not long after we went up the mountain, thick fog rose in the forest. My sister and I hurried to leave the sheep. I vaguely saw a head in the fog, what looked like a person waving at me through the haze. The man's hands were slender and long, at least two. Even my skilled hands touched the ground. His head was big and flat like an old winter melon. Who was there? I shivered all over. That person didn't move but stood in the thick fog waving at me. I instinctively, like my eyes, looked again, but the figure was gone. Suddenly, behind me came my sister. I turned around and looked back. My sister was gone. Only a few old mountain goats were left, bleating. That day, I searched all over the mountains and fields but couldn't find any trace of my sister. It was as if she vanished into thin air. The villagers, knowing this, all suspected it was the bear. They began to organize themselves to search the mountain, but my dad's behavior was very unusual. He flatly refused, saying forget it, she can't be found. But I still wanted to say something. I couldn't. One slap came down hard, but what's the use? Doesn't he understand human speech? I covered my burning face and didn't dare to say more. The villagers, seeing my dad's words reach this point, gradually left and returned to their homes. After everyone left, my dad's whole spirit collapsed. Without time to think, my dad held me and we headed home. He ran in, lifted me up and kicked the door open. My dad was gasping for breath, facing my mom. He said it was him. He had come back. When my mom arrived, she instinctively forgot about me. Her face suddenly changed.
You mean the thing from 10 years ago? My dad hurriedly broke it in two.
Without saying a word, he pulled me into the house. Then he and my dad pushed aside the wooden bed.
There's a place under the bed where you hide. Don't come out unless it's me or your dad calling you.
Don't come out for anyone else. What is it? Hearing this, my mom clearly straightened up and turned her head toward my dad. My dad just took out a hunting rifle from the box, shook his head and said, "No, don't say it. He might find out." My heart thumped. And I instinctively shrank my head into the cellar. I shrank down. My dad sighed and comforted me. "He's here to find you, to take revenge. Hide down there. We'll leave first." I nodded and climbed down to the bottom of the cellar, hiding quietly. I stood up, and for some reason my back itched. I reached out to scratch and ended up breaking the skin. Blood oozed out. I have a big scar on my back that's been there as long as I can remember. I don't know when I got it. Whenever I asked my parents, they always changed the subject. Now, the place where the skin broke was exactly where the scar is. At that moment, I heard the door being pushed open, and a man's voice. "Something's wrong in Mashing." I had just passed Mashing's house on the street. Out of curiosity, I went in to take a look, and then I saw Mashing lying on the ground. He was already lifeless, covered in blood. The 6 characters on the book were stammered out, followed by the sound of a gunshot. I hurried over to check on him. After a burst of hurried footsteps, the surroundings fell silent. But the next moment, I heard footsteps again, coming so fast. I just wanted to speak when I suddenly thought of something and quickly covered my mouth.
Instinctively, I raised my whole body and hid in the shadows. We're back. The sound of footsteps, getting closer and closer. I heard a woman say, "Come on, go deal with the Shen family." An old blind bear had already been shot with a big gun. Came to the bottom of the cellar ladder, ready to climb up. After just a few steps, I realized something was wrong. Mashin was only 2 or 3 houses away from us. Why didn't I hear any gunshots? Unless my mom was lying to me, I froze in place. Then there was a sudden loud noise, urgent and loud. It was my mom's voice, getting closer and farther away. "Run fast! Get out! Hurry and run!" Run out of the village. Suddenly, sharp gunshots rang out. It was the unique sound of my dad's hunting rifle. It seemed the people outside were my parents. I kept moving quietly, no doubt, climbing the ladder carefully. "Bear, run fast!" I was about to push open the cellar door when I suddenly stopped. That sound was just like my mom's, but my mom never calls me baby like that. She usually calls me baby differently. The only person I could think of was the dead Aunt Ma. My palms were sweating cold, my limbs numb. Through the gap in the cellar door, I saw a pair of feet in front of the bed. The shoes on those feet I recognized. They were the embroidered shoes Aunt Ma made herself. Isn't Aunt Ma dead? I didn't dare even breathe. But before I could relax, those small legs slowly bent forward, preparing to look under the bed. I looked around desperately. Despair spread in my heart. Suddenly, more gunshots came. I quickly raised my head and looked through the gap in the cellar door. Not far from the crack, a pair of rolling pale eyeballs were staring intently. My blood-covered face was exactly Aunt Ma's. Then Aunt Ma was dragged aside. Uncle Luyuzi appeared from behind Aunt Ma, moved the window, and opened the cellar. He hurriedly said, "Chunching, get out quickly. We can't stay here." His face turned pale. I was also quite scared. I quickly asked my dad, "Where are they?" "In the woodshed at Ma's place. Your dad saw something with long, thin limbs and chased after it. Auntie saw it too. She insisted I come back first and take you away." I believed her and hurriedly climbed out of the cellar. I followed Uncle Luzi running. After an unknown time, rustling sounds came from the forest ahead. Slender shadows appeared and disappeared. At that moment, I suddenly locked eyes with him. That gaze was strangely familiar. I stood there stunned. "Run!" Uncle Luzi shouted, pulling me along. We finally reached the town entrance. My dad and mom stretched their necks, looking around. "Shinny's up, Diddles. Li Zongsheng. Aren't we fine here? Regretting it now, Uncle Luzi? Otherwise, I almost wouldn't have seen you." "Which Uncle Luzi did my dad move?" "I'm Zhang Zhang," I explained. "Uncle Luzi from Liu's family? Zhao Liu, don't you remember?" My mom trembled all over like a sieve shaking. Her lips turned white. "Zhao Liu didn't die 10 years ago already?"